will we soon run out of fish?
Fish stocks are depleting by 70 to 95% since the 1950s.
We've been struggling to catch fish because there just aren't as many fish out there anymore. Let's zoom out.
We might be the last generation to enjoy the seafood paella or sushi rolls. But why? Because apparently we live very different lives compared to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. But when it comes to fishing, it seems we've held on to that ancient tradition of hunting for our food in the wild. Sadly, this tradition might be coming to an abrupt end if we don't take urgent action. Over the years, our appetite for fish has grown exponentially. Nowadays, we consume 4 times as much fish as we did in the 1950s. This soaring demand has put a severe strain on our global fish stocks, which are now plummeting at an alarming rate. Our oceans are an abundant source of food, but they're not infinite. The troubling reality is that we're catching fish at a pace so fast that many species don't have enough time to reproduce and replenish their numbers. And in the result, large swaths of the seabed, once teeming with life, now resemble barren deserts. The statistics are stark. Around 85% of global fish stocks are in a critical state, being overexploited, depleted, or in recovery from exploitation. Just recently, alarming reports suggested that in the vast stretch of the North Sea between the UK and Scandinavia, there might be fewer than 100 cod over the age of 13 years, the age at which they can reproduce and help rejuvenate the population.
A marine science organisation saying the cod population has fallen to dangerously low levels.
Moreover, methods like bottom trawling are not only efficient but also exceedingly harmful, turning once teeming areas of the Mediterranean and North Sea into marine deserts. The heavy toll is not just confined to European waters. Fleets are extending their reach to tropical oceans, particularly the rich West African seas. Sadly, these waters have not been spared, with coastal fisheries declining by a staggering 50% in the last 30 years, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. But the tragedy doesn't end at European borders. We've cast our nets far and wide, reaching into the once rich West African seas, depleting their waters at an alarming rate. Coastal fisheries there have witnessed a heart-wrenching decline of 50% in the past 30 years. It's as if we've turned our back on the vibrant marine life that once thrived in these regions. Sticking to the same old ways is doing us no favors. It's like stubbornly clinging to a sinking ship. We're setting up not just the next wave of fishermen, but all of humanity for a real rough time if we don't change course. So, what can we do? We've got to nudge our governments to step up and rethink the whole quota system. It's high time we replace the existing free-for-all with policies that are in sync with the actual fish stocks in local waters. And speaking of revival, we need to designate some spaces in the ocean where fish can just be fish, without the threat of being scooped up in nets. These reserves would be a sanctuary, a place where marine life can recover and flourish once again. It goes without saying, but keeping an eye on these areas to prevent illegal fishing is a must.
Marine reserves are places in which all harmful uses such as fishing, mining, dumping, and oil drilling are banned.
Marine reserves are an entire ecosystem protection.
And we can't forget about the fish farms. Yes, they're filling our plates right now, but at what cost? It's pretty much an open secret that they come with a host of issues, from polluting our waters to creating breeding grounds for disease. It's a messy affair, and we can do better. Much better. With that, it's time to talk about the role of marine reserves in safeguarding our oceanic wonders. Truth be told, we've been slacking a bit in this department. As of now, a mere fragment of the ocean enjoys the sanctuary of a protected reserve. But the good news is nations are beginning to realize the priceless value embedded in these aquatic realms. We're talking about immense protected spaces cropping up in different parts of the globe.
You also see an increase in the number of species in those protected areas over time.
For example, Pacific Islands come together to form a massive protected zone that sprawls over 1 million square kilometers. And they're not alone in this. Many countries are joining the league to bring a significant change. But the thing is, creating these marine sanctuaries is just one part of the equation. It's crucial to ensure these protected pockets are truly safe havens for marine life, shielded from the encroachments of overeager fishermen. And that means resources, efforts, and genuine dedication to patrolling and monitoring these regions effectively. What about the knock-on effects happening in our oceans, particularly focusing on the downfall of our marine predators? Shockingly, we humans have bumped sharks off the top spot as the ocean's #1 predator. This has set off a chain of events that's a lot more complex and concerning than most realize. You know, sharks aren't just the stars of blockbuster hits. They have a day job, far more critical in the grand scheme of things. Their dwindling numbers aren't just their loss. It sets off a dangerous domino effect, impacting the very fabric of marine life.
New research out today from moat scientists now confirming that sharks are in trouble.
Just beautiful animals.
And scientists say they play a big role in our world.
And so that's very alarming.
It isn't just a spike in jellyfish numbers we have to worry about. Our oceans are bearing the brunt of multiple assaults. Pollution, climate change, and acidification are reshuffling the deck, forcing species to adapt, migrate, or face extinction. New, hybrid species are stepping onto the scene, creating a marine narrative that's both unpredictable and somewhat unnerving. But don't throw in the towel just yet. We've got a fighting chance to rewrite this story. For starters, simple tweaks in our fishing practices have shown promise in saving seabird populations from unwarranted deaths. Now it's about scaling up these efforts, taking responsibility, and fostering a marine environment where life thrives in all its diversity and grandeur. We're standing at a pivotal moment where our choices will shape the oceanic narratives of the future. It's more than high time to act, nurturing and safeguarding the oceans that have, for so long, played nurturer to us. It's not just about securing a prosperous future for the next generations, but also restoring the vibrant and bustling marine life that our oceans were known for.
Unless the community of nations comes together around a single, comprehensive, global ocean strategy.
I can announce we are taking steps to create 2 new marine sanctuaries.
In the grand scheme of things, we might feel like a tiny dot in this vast blue expanse we call our oceans. But every dot, every individual has a role to play, a call to answer. It's time we raise our voices and make a united conservation plea. Now, the ball has already started rolling. Across the globe, steps are being taken to safeguard our marine treasures, and it gives you a flicker of hope, doesn't it? We're talking about protected marine reserves, areas that serve as safe havens for marine life. Though it's a bit alarming that less than 1% of our oceans are currently under protection, plans are in motion to boost this figure to 10% by 2020. It's a start, and a promising one at that. A wave of united efforts is sweeping across countries. The tiny Pacific Islands have taken a stand, safeguarding a staggering 1.1 million square kilometers of ocean. And they're not alone in this. Australia has stepped up, marking the creation of the world's largest protected space, and encouraging others from Britain to New Zealand to join the cause. We can't just stop creating these reserves. They need to be alive, dynamic, and ready to adapt to the migratory patterns of the splendid creatures they house. A fresh perspective is emerging, advocating for mobile reserves, spaces that move and shift, keeping pace with migratory giants like whale sharks and whales, offering them a safe passage through the open seas. This isn't about hampering the fishing industry. It's about harmonious coexistence, where a mere 4% of the ocean's conservation zones can shield a phenomenal 84% of our marine mammals. Here's a little nugget of hope for you. Rivers in several European cities are experiencing a resurgence. Once overexploited and lifeless, these water bodies are now humming with life once again, thanks to tireless cleanup drives, riverbank restorations, and sensible fishing restrictions. Witnessing salmon make a triumphant return to waters like the Thames, a river that many had given up on, it's proof that it's never too late to turn things around. It seems we've reached the deep end of our oceanic journey. We've navigated the tumultuous waters of the fishing industry, dived deep into the heart of our ocean struggles, and surfaced with a renewed sense of purpose and hope. We're all in this together. You, me, and everyone we know. It's not just about protecting fish or the oceans. It's about safeguarding our future. It's about making sure our kids and their kids can still enjoy the magical world that lies beneath the waves. Together, we're not just drops in the ocean. We're a wave of change. Until next time, see you in the next video.